This is how to use MSI's Afterburner from install to setting up the on-screen display. So to start off, just get into whatever browser you'd like. I use Firefox, and in your search engine, I use Google, is MSI Afterburner. Search that up. My first result is the MSI page, Afterburner, MSI Global. This is the right page. This is where you want to be. So now you've made it here, and all you have to do to get to where the download is, you scroll down, you click on Downloads. It's kind of easy to miss because they don't highlight it really well. You click on Downloads and you click on Download Afterburner, and you just want to save the file. Okay, that's fine. Now, how you get to your downloads after that is you, once it's done downloading, what am I doing? I already have this downloading. Okay. Once you have this downloaded, what you got to do is you have to go into your downloads, and then you'll find MSI Afterburner there. So I'm going to move mine to desktop, and I'm going to extract all. So extract all. There you go. Now this is my extracted folder. You click on this, and you just go into the setup. What it says here is, do you want to allow this app to make changes to all your devices, or just to this device? Click yes, it's fine. It's up to you to not screw up your computer, which it says here in your accept the terms. Next it says here you want to install MSI Afterburner in this thing called Riva Tuner. Yes, you want that. It provides great functionality. You'll see why later. So just install it wherever you want. Automatic is fine, unless you have another hard drive and you want to specifically install it in a certain place in that hard drive. You can get rid of this zip file now. You no longer need it. Next is Riva Tuner. Yes, same process as MSI Afterburner, and that's going to install. And just like that, it's on your computer. So you can look at the readmes if you want. This is your first time, you want to know exactly what's going on. I don't need to, I don't want to, I've done this before. So no, I'm just going to run MSI Afterburner. Get rid of these. These are just the install files. You don't need them anymore. It's just the setup. Now this is the main interface. Let me reset my settings. This is the main interface of MSI Afterburner. So this is your GPU clock, or the frequency in megahertz. This is the memory clock, frequency in megahertz. Voltage and core voltage, I'm not going to go over. I'm not going to mess with it too much because I'm not qualified to tell you what to do with that and how to change it. So I'm just going to not go over this. If you want more information, there's plenty of it. This is your temperature of your GPU in Celsius, and it has Fahrenheit right here along the outer edge, or inner edge actually, if you want it, if that's useful to you. And then other buttons are this, which just brings you to the browser page, and then you have your information, which gives you your CPU model and your graphics card model and your display driver, which can be helpful if you don't know what driver you're running, instead of just looking in your drivers. And then for other buttons, this is going to be your reset, so it resets your card to default settings. Let's say I go a little bit on the memory, a little bit on the core. I click apply. This makes it so my settings that I'm telling it to run at actually do apply, and they actually do run. So now you can see my megahertz, and in both my GPU and memory clock have both shot up a little bit. That's because I applied this overclock. If I want to reset it, I reset it. Now they're back down to where they're supposed to be. Interesting thing about this is that you can save profiles. So let's say I click the save button, I apply, click the save button, and I want it to be profile 3. Then I just click that, and we're good to go. I can click on 3 if I reset it. I can click on 3, apply, and I'm right back up to those settings again. So that's a very handy tool for saving your overclocks. Here is a startup badge. You can do this better in the settings, which we're going to go over next. This is your settings. Start with Windows, start minimized. If you will like that, that's up to you. This is your compatibility. I'd say you don't touch this much. If you want to, if you know what you're doing, go for it. Again, voltage, I'm not going to mess with it. And then this don't disable that because we want that in our next tab, monitoring. This shows in your game or in your application the usage of your CPU, GPU, and not only the usage but also shows the frequencies if you want to see that. It also shows the temperatures if you'd like to see it. It's very useful in that way. And to start out with, you have how often it pings for that. So 1,000 milliseconds, 1 second isn't very often. I prefer mine to update around every half second. So I'm just going to type in 500 milliseconds, and there we are. You can click OK, and that closes it down and it applies it, but you don't need to do that yet. And then next is active hardware monitoring graphs. Now this is where people can get tripped up and like, what's going on? I don't know what I'm doing. Well, when you click one of these and it highlights blue, you'll notice that here it changes name. So GPU usage, bus usage, bus usage. And that's where you can turn them on for the on-screen display. Also note, this check mark does mean something. If you uncheck it, it undoes all of this. Or it doesn't necessarily undo it, but it just doesn't activate it is the better word. So I want my GPU temperature, so I'll show it in my on-screen display. There's two ways you can have it. You can have it in text or graph. Graph is more like this, text is more of this style. I prefer text, so I'm going to leave it that way. GPU usage, shown on-screen display. I want that. Memory usage, not really. It's probably going to be maxed out most of the time. Core clock, I'll take it. Memory clock, yes sir. CPU temp, yeah, absolutely. CPU usage, get me in there. CPU clock, yes, I want that. And RAM usage, yes. When it comes to frame limits and frame times, or frame rates, that's up to you. I'm not entirely certain on how to set those up, so I'm going to leave it alone for now. If it's useful to you, I just go for it. You can search up how to do it. This is just basic functionality. We're not going to get too deep into this. And so if you want it, up to you. You can find it out, especially once you figure out how to do those. Now, for turning on your on-screen display in games, you just have to have a hotkey that you can press, or you can have a combination. You could have, if you want, you click on it to change it on the actual box, and you could have control, whatever, right? You could have caps lock and or J, or really it's whatever you want. I like to set mine, click on it, and I like to set mine to control M, just because no other game things really use that in conjunction. So control M works great, and there we are. If you're recording, you can turn off your on-screen display in recordings, up to you. Benchmark, I don't use it. Screen capture, I don't use it. This is just monitoring and on-screen for MSI Afterburner, which is really what most people are going to be using anyway. So OK, click. Now everything's applied for my settings. This message, if it pops up, not super important. I don't need it, so I'm just going to click OK. Now let's get into a game and try it out. So let's try library. Let's say I want to play some Iron Snout, and give me a moment while I mute it for the video. Wrong way. Alright, now that your ears are thoroughly shattered, let's get back into it. Let's turn VSync off. So now we can look at my usages. You see that in the corner here it has my FPS, that's from Steam. GPU, it has my temps, percentage, and frequency. Memory, it has usage for, oh no, that's frequency, sorry. CPU, it has temp, usage, and frequency, and then RAM usage. So let's say I go into a game, and you can see that my how the usages stack up. It's not using all of my processing power, but that's because it's locked at 60 FPS. But you can see that the CPU usage is higher than the GPU usage. Now this is very useful for frame or usage matching, I call it, your computer if you want to improve performance on lower end systems. But that's how it is, and that's how it works. Let's say I press Control M here. Now it's no longer there. So, also the music starts when I press M. But anyway, very useful utility. So going into it, that's the basics of MSI Afterburner. Now you know how to use it, how to set it up, and how to apply it to your games. Thank you.